So I've been meaning to start talking about this there now, and I've been kind of procrastinating, kind of like dealing with this and putting it off. We're under a lot of pressure on a daily basis because there's certain parties trying to suppress this information. So this video is probably going to go longer than 10 minutes, so I'll put the comments in the link down below underneath if it's on TikTok. Where do I start with this there now? It's 5:30 in the morning there now, so it's the only kind of time I can get free to do this, but it has to be done. As embarrassing as all this is, it has to be done once and for all. I don't know, where do I start with this? I suppose at the beginning. And I'd say to anyone, just hang in there and let me explain all of this from the start, and you'll see why some people's interest to really kind of smother this information and to play it down. Socially, it's kind of like, it's beyond tough now, I'm being honest with you. They're doing this thing called gang stalking. I'll explain all this when I get to it. My wife will talk with me on camera about this. I just kind of want to do it to a timeline. And I'll explain all this weird gang stalking stuff that they're doing, trying to suppress this information. I just need to go back and forward once or twice just before I start explaining this stuff. I met my ex in rehab. When we got out there, we ended up in this weird religion, kind of, right? The Baha'i religion, Bihai. We were kind of scouted or recruited, if you want to call it, by this psychologist. He was actually my teacher, and his wife, she still is a psychologist, subcontract by water for Tusla. And there's the logo, see it there, Baha'i religion. So that's the logo of the yoke. See it there being promoted by the HSC. And we were in this for about 14 months. I left. I felt it was a cult, and we'll talk about all of this and what goes on inside this religion and all this stuff, and you can make your own minds up, but you'll see how unethical and basically dangerous this is. But eventually I twigged who this woman was. I spoke about this now in other videos there. 10 years ago, there was a case where there was accusations against the daughter of an employee of Tusla supposedly being inappropriate with a minor. And I was present at the interview, which happened out in Arkeen Hospital there. And we were driven out by James Kennedy, who's a Waterford social worker, myself the minor, and obviously James Kennedy. And at that meeting, I found out then that the accusations were 7 weeks old. So the weight of 7 weeks old left the minor in the care of the people that had supposedly done all this. Now, I said all this in previous videos. So the HSC, Tusla, could only find one way, which was in favour of them, because it condoned leaving the person in the care of these people. But to cut a long story short, I thought this person was a guard. It turned out that she was a psychologist employed by Waterford Tusla, and she had decided that she was going to keep all of this internal, that there was going to be no guards involvement, and I wanted guards involved obviously, but yeah, she covered the whole lot up, and they blamed the young one who had reported what she had seen. They said she was troublesome and they moved her away. And that psychologist was the same woman then who lured myself, my ex and my kids into this weird religion. I never recognised her because I only met her the once in the hospital. When I was in the religion, I used to always kind of like think I knew this woman from somewhere. This woman was an absolute control freak. I can't even explain. Like, I will explain all this as I go, but I need to explain this at the start. But she was using the HSC to recruit for this religion, this Baha'i religion. Look, we were in it for 14 months. My ex is still in it. There's a letter there, look, from my daughter, dated 28th of 7th, 2021. And you can see on the top of my daughter's letter, she got her to write this symbol. And obviously, that symbol would mean something. She's trying to provoke me, and because she's still in the shook. And this thing is so unethical. And like, it's a crazy stuff. They tried to lock us in the school there in 2014, and kind of, I had enough of it at this stage, to basically try to brainwash us for all the world, try to condition us into this religion. You don't believe this kind of stuff. I know it's going to sound crazy because they're pushing the whole mental illness card. I know socially there's all this sexual stuff going around attached to my name, but through the courts they're pushing this whole mental illness stuff. They're trying to gaslight me mental health. Same with my wife, they done the same to my mother before she passed away, Lord of mercy on her. Yeah, so before I start, you have the HSC there, look, promoting this religion, this Baha'i religion. There's the logo of it. There's the HSC up there. There's a letter from my daughter that my ex sent down. See, I got her to draw a little kind of symbol on the yoke, trying to provoke me, because as I said, they're still in it. And obviously the HSC shouldn't be promoting kind of a religion. If they were, they should be promoting all kinds of religion. Islam, Scientology, that's registered religion. But there's all kind of various religions that if they were doing this, but they didn't. This was 10 months after I started speaking out about this. This person using the HSC to recruit people into this religion. And you won't believe how unethical the goings on in this religion is. I'll explain it when I get to it. And you'll be dumbfounded. And you can judge for yourself, like, if I have any mental health problems. This is what they're pushing, like. But like, the paperwork like speaks for itself. And as I go, I'm going to show lots and lots of paperwork. At the moment, I have to go to court now in January for maintenance and another safety order. This is my third safety order, my third maintenance. I never missed any days maintenance. Never gave her any kind of reason to get a safety order. Never broke any of the other safety orders. But she's just been, she's basically been told what to do by this kind of psychologist who's employed by Tesla, as I said. And this woman, like, she thrives on this kind of stuff. She thrives on kind of destroying people's lives like this. And she looks at everyone's life like it's a game of chess. This is what her own husband told me this, that she looks at people's lives like it's a game of chess. And they're desperate that this is not looked into. And what I just said just there now, it would have a paper trail. They can easily just pull this file and just look into it and just see whether or not I'm telling the truth. Before we go any further, they can just do that. And if it's a thing that I'm not telling the truth, they can hold me accountable and drag me through the course, because they have all these defamation laws and all this in place there. But if it's a thing I am telling the truth, and I've been used as some kind of fucked up experiment, which I have, and they try and provoke me now, they basically harass my family, and like, you would not believe the stuff that we go through on a daily basis. But I'm going to start explaining this now once and for all, because as I said, I've been procrastinating this stuff, and it's kind of hard for me to talk about, being honest with you, because like, I have to talk about the porn addiction and kind of drug addiction, and kind of have to talk about this stuff in my past, which is very kind of, it's uncomfortable to say the least, but I have to talk about it. It's a case of just doing what needs doing. So I'm going to start talking about it. And in order to talking about this, I'm going to have to talk about my experiences with my ex and what led us into this religion, basically. And then it's not about me defaming her or getting revenge or slandering anyone. I'm just putting out the truth of that. She appeared on a podcast in 2022. She defamed me, like, put out that I have a drug conviction, put all this out for my kids to hear and all this kind of stuff. But she's supposed to be promoting a hair program. And as usual, took it as an opportunity to try and take everything and anything I have and to slander me, basically. So like, I'm just putting the truth out there, and people can decide for themselves. And this is going to cover like corrupt Gardaí, corrupt politicians who are currently protected, and known paedophile in Waterford, who kind of, the girls are brave enough to come forward and make statements, but the Gardaí purposely, to protect this person because he's political connections, they sent bits and pieces of cases up to DPP, knowing the DPP would send back saying there's not enough evidence, even though with historic sexual abuse. And there's so many other cases in Ireland, the statements of the witnesses was good enough to bring the people to court, except in this case, because as I said, the political connections. But it's not just that, because I will expose this person's family who knew all about this all along. Not only that, I'll expose a certain politician who's actually after assisting this person's family and still is. So yeah, I'm going to start talking about this there now. And this is some crazy stuff, I can tell you that. And they're going to push everything and anything to get people to stop listening to this. But I'm just saying to people, just hear me out. That's all I'm going to say, because I'm going to start showing paperwork there now as I kind of go along with this. I just don't know where to start with it. So I suppose I'm going to start here. And as I said, it's not about me defaming me ex or slandering people or anything like that. Like, it's about me just putting the truth out there. That's all it is. And I'm not going to just allege stuff like me ex did on this podcast. Of what she said was taken as the truth, despite her like telling lie after lie after lie. I will show paperwork. So the best place to start, I suppose, is at the beginning. So I met my ex right in rehab in 2008 in Wexford. She was in there for drug addiction, crack, heroin. I was in there for like cocaine addiction, fucking porn addiction, gambling addiction, alcoholism, fucking chocolate addiction. To be honest with you, like, you name it, every kind of addiction I was in there for. It is what it is. There's no point in lying about it. And when we were in there, before we got out, we were carrying on a relationship in there, and you're not supposed to. It's totally kind of against the kind of norm to have a relationship in there. But before they got out, then they kind of twigged. We were swapping letters and ripping them up and throwing them away in the garden, and they found the bits and pieces of the letters. And before they got out, then they kind of twigged what was going on, and they called me aside and they said to me, they said, look, we don't agree with what's happening with that relationship with her. And they explained to me, they said that she lacked empathy. They said that I'm getting myself into a very dangerous, toxic situation. That's exactly what they said to me. They said that she was going to run rings around me, that I was too soft for her. That's basically what they warned me before I left. And I probably should have listened to them. But at the end of the day, like, I have a daughter off of this woman, and my daughter wouldn't have been born either. So, but while I was in these groups there now, her issues, what she was saying basically, that she spent morning, noon and night cutting hair. She's a hairdresser, and she seeked this validation of her people because she maintained that she never got it from her parents growing up. And I'm not going to get into all the details of that, but this is basically what was said, that she craved this validation, people pleasing kind of shit, basically. And when I got out, then we were given two things to do. Hers was she wanted to cut hair for 2 years because of chasing this validation. It was creating an imbalance in her kind of persona. And I was to kind of stop mixing with the people that I was mixing with before I went into rehab. Basically, that was our two things to do, and I wanted to do that for 2 years, and she wanted to do that for 2 years. But we got out in 2008. We moved down to Tranmore. She became pregnant like pretty immediately, being honest with you. And she went back cutting hair, being honest with you, straight away, more or less after that. And kind of, it was only supposed to be for a year. Then 1 year turned into 2 years, and 2 years turned into 3 years, and like, her whole life was just taken up with just kind of cutting hair for people. She could hairdresser, and she used to work for RT, I believe, something like that. But yeah, she's a very good hairdresser, and kind of, I was around both the kids. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, and I was around both the kids. And I have a previous son that I had when I was 15 or 16, and I'm not a really good father, kind of, so kind of I felt I kind of failed there. So I was kind of, so I felt I was trying to make up for all the world. So I kind of embraced being a father, being honest with you, and I didn't really mind. And I know this kind of sounds like I'm being the martyr and all this kind of stuff, like being the father figure, but I enjoyed being the father figure to both the kids. And to be honest with you, pretty soon into the relationship, I realised that not only did I not love this person, that I didn't really even like her, if I'm being honest with you, as a person. And like, I know that's probably hard to hear, and like, this kills this person to hear this, but like, that's the truth of the matter. And I wanted to just go our separate ways. I was at the moment out twice. I moved out, and she'd always get the kids to ask me to move back. And as I said, I was around both the kids on a daily basis, and I kind of had a real good bond with the kids. So like, I'd end up coming back. I think the first time I moved out, I was only gone for 3 weeks. The second time I moved out, I was only gone for 2 weeks, and kind of like, I'd moved back. And the first time I moved back really is because she didn't really have a babysitter, if I'm being honest with you. And she got the kids to ask me, so I moved back. And then the second time, then it was the same thing. I called to the house one day to see the kids, and there was some stranger more or less minded the kids. Some person that she had minded the kids, that she was going to do their hair in exchange for minding the kids. So to cut a long story short, I moved back, and it just went back to normal. But around 2010, we both went back taking drugs, both of us. She's saying on this podcast that she's clean from 2008. Like, this is all lies. Right, we both went back taking drugs. It's as simple as that. There's no other way to put it. We were originally getting the drugs in Waterford, and then she kind of said that she could get them cheaper in Dublin. So we obviously started getting them cheaper in Dublin, and we continued taking drugs for a couple of years. And being honest with you, we would kind of get my sister or something to mind the kids, and I was after keeping one of the apartments that we have, and we used to go up there, and let's just put it that way, personal kind of stuff, being honest with you. And yeah, that went on for a couple of years, and even that ran its course, being honest with you, and I was going to move out the third time. And the whole kind of her chasing this validation cutting here, it really became such an issue, like, in the relationship, if I'm being honest with you. Like, myself and the kids, well, we felt we were just in the way of her, like, chasing this kind of wanting to be the centre of attention all the time. And I know this sounds like I'm slandering the person or defaming the person, like that's just the way it is. I'm sure I want easy to live with at the same time, do you know what I mean? But that's what happened, and that's what was going on. And we tried to address it, and we went back to St. Otrans in Waterford. Brook House is a drug place in Waterford. It's a drug clinic in Waterford, and we were both getting counselling. Both of us now were in getting counselling to two different counsellors in Brook House. I'm sure this is on record up there as well. But it's on the grounds of St. Otrans, and St. Otrans is a mental health hospital. So eventually, when I did bring her to court later, she thrown this in my face, said that I was up in St. Otrans, and the judge believed this. And like, this wasn't the case. We were both on the grounds of St. Otrans in Brook House getting treatment for drug addiction, and this was in 2011. And this is totally against what she said on her podcast on the Two Norries in 2008, claiming that she's drug free. And she had telling so many lies down there. She's about to be proven to be a liar. So yeah, we were continuing taking drugs, and then I wanted to leave. I was going to move out again then eventually, because I wanted to do something with my life. I wanted to kind of move on. Like, there's no reflection on like rearing the kids. I wanted to rear the kids as well, but I wanted to move on and do something with my life. I wanted to learn how to be a tattooist and this kind of stuff. And I was just about to move out, and she basically begged me to stay. And the second time we moved out, I just wanted to say this, right? We decided to break up and move out, but it had to be on the condition that she was allowed to go around and tell all her hair clients that she decided to break up. Like, that's how much like this person like perceived what other people like thought about her, and that's how much of a concern for her that this was. Now, I didn't really care, because I meant like getting away from her, so I didn't really care. So we agreed on that, and she went around telling everyone like that she decided to break up because like she wasn't able to like deal with what people would be saying about her. This was exactly her words. So I left her off. But after 2 or 3 weeks, and as I said, I called to the house and there was some stranger minding the kids, I ended up having to go back, to be honest with you. But the third time then I was going to move out, and this was in 2013. I was going to move out again for the third time. And she begged me to stay, got the kids to beg me to stay, said I can do whatever I want. So I joined the psychology course out in Tramore ETB. And the person that was teaching this psychology course was Pat Carey. And Pat Carey is the husband of Anne Carey. And Anne Carey is the psychologist employed by Waterford Tussle, who was recruiting for this religion. She was also the psychologist who covered up all the stuff with the minor, where I was a witness in 10 years before that, but I didn't know this at the time. So as I kind of got talking to him over 1 or 2 classes, I noticed then he was inviting 1 or 2 of the students here and there, kind of up to his house. This is where these meetings took place. Then he was always waiting till the student would be on their own to kind of invite him in, but I'd be kind of earwigging, and I heard him. At first I thought he said he was bi, being honest with you. Then I kind of realised, because he kept going on about it, that he was bad high. He kept pushing this thing. He was explaining to me that I knew him actually from Uteridge. He taught me in woodwork when I was like 16 down in Uteridge, so this would have been like, I don't know, like nearly 20 years ago, when I was asking him like why is he doing this psychology thing there now, and he said that he's helping his wife spread the word of this Bahoy, that this was his first year teaching this psychology thing. I was living in Tramore, that I was at completing rehab, that I was with a woman from Ballymun, and she was threatening to take the kids back to Ballymun if we split up. So I kind of like, I didn't love her, and I felt trapped in the relationship and all this kind of stuff. And I was only with her basically to keep the kids in Tramore. And this is the truth. I know this sounds kind of cold and callous and all this, but look, this is the truth. And I'm not here to kind of like paint a certain picture of myself either. Like, and this is it. So he was saving this. He was saving me for information, trying to get me to join this Bahoy. I had no interest in this religion thing, being honest with you. But his wife started turning up. My ex was in this woman's group. She was after taking over, trying to run that thing as well. Let's just put it that way. Her friends would all verify this. But his wife turned up outside, pretending to be hanging up flyers for spiritual nourishment, free kids' play dates, and relationship advice. And my ex didn't bite the first time. That she turned up the second time, and she actually hung around for, I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours outside. They could see her through the glass window, pretending to be hanging up these flyers. And she went out of her way to speak to my ex, and my ex put us down as a family, thought it would help our relationship. Free kids' play dates. Basically, she had someone to mind the kids while she cut her hair, being honest with you. And spiritual nourishment. So these meetings took place up in the tutor's house out in Tramore, out in Clarenwood. Now bear in mind, I was still doing psychology. I was still like in psychology, being taught by this tutor. So when I went up to the first meeting, I nearly died when they opened the door and I walked in and the tutor was there. Like, and I realised kind of who I was and kind of, yeah. So over a couple of weeks, we ended up going more and kind of, it just kind of got strange. And as I said, I was only with her to stop her like taking the kids back to Ballymun, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I know I probably don't come across like I am quite, but I am pretty quiet, believe it or not. People know me kind of without drugs and kind of drink and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually very quiet. And I just kind of like shut me out basically, and she was kind of, your mom was basically manipulating. Your mom was a psychologist and she was manipulating her. And her friend, who was in my psychology class, her two daughters played with our two daughters. So she joined as well. She's manipulated up to this as well. And she joined, and she even tried to tell her, look, like you're kind of being manipulated by these people. You could tell like these people, like they're all psychologists, you know what I mean? And they're manipulating us into this. They were promoting this as this being the best parts of all religion. They're trying to ostracize you. Definitely not allowed to mix with people outside of their religion. They're encouraging me ex to bring up our hair clients, but don't bring them up in groups. Bring them up one by one, because they're easier to manipulate if they're on their own and they're surrounded by a group. There's all this weird behaviour, and I found it more and more weird as it was going on. And they gave out exercise books, and Carrie. This is the wife now, the Pat Carrie, who was my tutor, and she was the one now basically, she was the main person. She used to walk into a room, click her fingers, and everyone would have to stop talking. That's the kind of stuff they used to go on. But yeah, she used to give out exercise books, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and you fill out your exercise books to be all these different questions about various topics. Some about the Catholic Church, some about how do you feel about like X, Y, and Z, all these different kind of questions, and you fill them in, and then you give them back to her. And then if she deems fit, she moves you on to exercise book number 2. But realistically, what she was doing, she was profiling the people. So she gets a kind of view of kind of how people feel about X, Y, and Z. So she was basically profiling us. And I was saying all this to my ex, and I was saying like, you need to be super cautious with this woman. She's clearly like profiling us. You're being lured into this. But she was just manipulating my ex, and I was wondering if she was being this kind of mother figure to my ex. And then my ex told me then one day that she went up and she was supposed to be doing hair, and her hair cancelled, that she started having secret meetings with this woman. And she basically confided some information about I don't want to say this, not really any of my business. She basically she was up to cutting the back of her mother. That's all I'm going to say. And basically it was what this woman wanted. It was the opening that this woman wanted. And after this woman became like a mother figure to her. And she would call down to the house then every day, morning, noon and night. This woman would call to the house, dropping books or fucking some kind of stuff. She'd be there in the house, morning, noon and night. And I'd be trying to kind of bite me tongue, and kind of the kids now were sick of this now. If I'm being honest with you, at this stage they wanted out of this, like I wanted out of this, but my ex was getting so much in it because your mom was lavishing loads of attention on her, and her friend was even saying to her, "Do you not think like maybe you're being manipulated?" And we were being manipulated. And I'm going to talk a bit more about what went on in this religion the further I go into this. But as a start, I just wanted to talk about this. But to cut a long story short, we went into this, it got more and more weirdo. And then in August 2014, they rented out Kilkenny College for the weekend. They told us it was a play date. So we brought the kids down. My ex's friend, she brought her two kids down as well. And when we got down there then, we realised there wasn't a play date, that they had stalls set up selling books of a new beginning. This is the Bible associated now with this kind of Baha'i thing. And there was lectures by people high up in this thing to kind of lure people in. I felt even the lectures were set up that there was people in the crowd strategically asking questions. And the kids were supposed to be brought off to make pizza. And when the kids came back, I asked the kids what was it like making the pizza. And the kids told me that they weren't allowed to make the pizza. They had to repeatedly chant this prayer over and over again. So they were conditioning the kids basically. And they weren't allowed to make the pizza unless they repeated this prayer. Do you know what I mean? And then they told the shade that I wanted the day out, that it was a weekend yoke, that we were obliged to stay from Friday to Sunday, and this showed our commitment into religion. And obviously my ex was eager to please this woman because she was being touted as more or less the second coming, being honest with you. And I was like, I wasn't having any of this. The kids weren't having any of this. There was no way in the world we were going to stay the weekend at this show. And then when we went to leave, they told us that the gates were locked, but that they weren't locking us in, that they were locking thieves out. That's why these people now, they look down their nose at fucking everyone. Because I started to question, why don't you do anything for charity around Waterford if you're all these supposedly good things, like good parts of religion, why don't you do anything for charity ever? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you notice, nobody ever heard of this Baha'i. Do you ever notice that? Do you know what I mean? Nobody knows anyone who left the Baha'i. And the reason that is because they do the same thing as Scientology. They do the same harassment, the sexual innuendo, the non-stop fucking harassment. They do exactly that. Scientology does the same. If you can look up this, it's the same harassment. It's called gang stalking. I spoke about this in previous videos and I'll talk about it more as I go. But this is what they do. This is why nobody ever heard of this religion, or they never heard of anyone who leaves this religion. This is why. It's a very close-knit, and I believed it to be a cult. And on the way back from that meeting, I left. My ex begrudgingly left with the kids, and her friend left with the kids. And I told her on the way back, in no uncertain terms, that I was leaving this religion and I wanted the kids taken out of it. But she was getting so much from it, she decided to stay in it and be the good student. And she kept the kids in it, being honest with you. And she's still in it to this day. This is who's at the pulling the strings for her in Tussle to get her grants for kind of her hair thing that she's doing up in Dublin. And then this is the person who directed her through course, who's directing her now to go through the family course to try and gag me from revealing this information. And I meant to actually show more paperwork, but I forgot to have it ready. There you can see, look, Baha'i religion. That's the symbol. There's the Baha'i. See the HSE promoting it. So like if they shouldn't be promoting any religion. They should, like, if they're doing that, they should be promoting all religions. If they're promoting understanding of religions, they should be promoting all religions. And this was 10 months after I started to out this person, that she was using the HSC and Tussle to recruit people into this religion. And you can see there my ex's letter there with the symbol, the Baha'i symbol that she had my daughter, 12 years of age, draw on my letter. Do you know what I mean? This is and it was on my birthday actually. This was sent down. So it was obviously to try and provoke me. So like, why would that provoke me if this had nothing to do with that? But I'll continue the story there now from when I left that Baha'i in August 2014 on the way back, and what began then after this. So I'll leave it there for now. Thanks.